Today we're talking with John from hankr. My name is Drew Corson. I'm an attorney at Knight & Boucher here in Madison. The way we usually start is some introductions, so I'll pass the mic around and then we'll charge right into the presentation. Be about 10 or 15 minutes and then we can go right into question and answer. I'll be running the mic for questions, and don't be surprised if we aren't getting a steady clip of them if I call on you randomly. So think throughout the presentation, especially Steve, I'm going to call on you at least 3 times. So, start with introductions. Like I said, I'm Drew Corson.
And for those of you who don't know, that this mic doesn't amplify, but it's needed for the field stuff going on back there. Shobin, an organizer here and with Health X Ventures.
Steve Cloud, with co-founder of 32 Auctions. Would it be all right if I start with a question? I'm John Willis. I'm a technology consultant in software engineering and intellectual property.
Joanna Cervantes. I'm the Senior Regional Director with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Wisconsin.
Ibrahim Haroun. I'm the Senior Graphic Designer of my company, IH Concepts.
Hi, Toga Goldman. I'm an attorney who helps companies with their IP strategy.
Lisa Krugner-Higby, Comfort Care for Animals, LLC.
Hi, Alex Ryan with SunPower Corporation in the solar space, looking to get back into startups.
Nicole Justo with N29 Capital Partners.
I'm Bill Murray with American Family Insurance.
I'm Lauren Pemberton. I'm with American Family Insurance Innovation Team.
I'm Rachel Wilberding. I'm with Yum Wellness, a brand new culinary nutrition startup in town.
I'm Dan Anderson, and I'm with Baker Tilly.
Scott Cole with the AmFam Innovation Team and also an entrepreneur.
Kurt Peterson, the other co-founder of 32 Auctions, a platform for hosting and managing silent auctions.
Hi, I'm Eric Lawrenson, tech and culture reporter with the Capital Times.
Jason Brown, innovation consultant with American Family Insurance.
Take it away.
All right. Good morning, guys. I'm John Keel. I'm from hankr. It's great to see some familiar faces in the crowd, and honestly, if any of you have spoken like this in the past, it's just good to see faces in the crowd. Sometimes you're just not sure what's going to happen, so I love the crowd, and thanks for coming. If you saw in the posting in advance, maybe you just come, maybe you checked it out, but you saw that hankr is the mouth-wateringly visual guide to finding the answer to the question, what are you in the mood to eat? And that's like a pretty simple idea. And really, when I tell people face-to-face, sometimes it's like, oh, okay, visual guide. It doesn't necessarily grab you, but I think what you're going to hear today is actually going to change the way you choose where to eat in the future. And I'm a modest Midwestern guy. I grew up in Madison. I'm not one for hyperbole, but I know this to be true because actually you guys prove it every day when you shop for just about everything else you buy. So, just let me explain a little bit more. So, first of all, a little audience participation. I just want you to think for a minute about the last thing you bought. It might have been something you needed or just you maybe wanted, but just think about that for a second. And ask yourself, whether it's an item of clothing or a piece of furniture, whatever it is, would you have bought that thing with 100% confidence if you had not seen it before you did? If you just had to read words about it, would you have said, I'm buying that? Anyone? Probably not. Maybe one? Okay, yeah, you knew something about it. Maybe the appearance of it wasn't that central. But, that makes sense when you think about the things we say when we buy things. That couch would look great in your condo. That Michael Kors bag would just look great with all your Michael Kors shoes. Whatever it is, that's how we sound when we shop. But now think about the last time you chose a restaurant, or you were sitting down in a restaurant and you chose something to eat. Did you make that decision sight unseen? Did you even have a choice to see that thing before you said, yeah, I'll take that? Probably not. And that actually comes through in how we sound when we talk about food. Boy, that sounds good. that special the waitress mentioned, that sounds delicious. This restaurant, according to Yelp Man 17, it sounds like it'd be pretty good. That's, what's up with that? We eat with our eyes. We all say that and we all know this, and yet we choose food with our imaginations, by reading a bunch of things, or maybe if we're lucky, kind of a dark picture taken on someone's smartphone in a restaurant. And that's just, why do we settle for that, I mean, we take something that that's supposed to be enjoyable. Going out to eat probably with someone that we care about, someone we love, someone we're looking to have fun with, and you might have a conversation like this, even though we think we're good at making decisions in this way because we've done it for so long, we've had to settle for so long. I think there's a real consequence to this, and that is that something that is supposed to be as enjoyable and such a treat as going out to eat with someone you love, and it's become stressful, especially with restaurants at a local level. They're ever changing. Their menus are unique. Their menus change a lot, and we're just not all restaurant insiders. How can we stay on top of that? So you want to do something fun, and in the end, it's filled with anguish, and you're not just trying to figure out what you're in the mood to eat, but what everyone that you're going out with is in the mood to eat, and that's, it's just really difficult. And I think you feel that, right? This is where hankr comes from. This is my wife, and that's a conversation you saw in text that we didn't have for real, but we would have. And this is her at a restaurant, just this bite of food that is just, this symbolizes what we want when we go out to eat. It is supposed to be special. It is supposed to be an enjoyment. It's supposed to be a positive experience. Food, we love food. We love enjoying food with others, and it fulfills us not just physiologically, but psychologically. So hankr is here to make sure that this is the experience you have every time. To get that exact meal you crave. And we want you to have the confidence that comes with seeing before you decide. That's what it's all about. This is why we created hankr. And the idea is really simple. And I think that's a great thing because simple ideas are really powerful. This is where we come back to. This is the mouth-wateringly visual way to answer that question of what are you in the mood to eat. And it goes beyond just restaurants. Imagine if Amazon was just a listing of stores with a tiny picture of the store, and you had to decide, well, I think I want to buy a thing from them that they make. But that's what you had to go on. This goes down to the product level at that restaurant, that dish. And it lets you decide without all that stress and without all that guesswork. And when you compare hankr to other examples of existing dining guides, I mean, the difference is pretty stunning. Obviously stunning. And yet it's also probably really familiar. Because again, this is how we probably normally shop. I'm on jcrew.com and I'm seeing a bunch of their product. I don't have to kind of get past all this reading. You guys know the old-fashioned. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know what that picture is of the old-fashioned down there, but that's one of the most popular restaurants in town with a great vibe and great food that's really distinctive. And normally we're used to seeing, a name and some stars. So with hankr, you see visuals. Are there any Pinterest users in the room? Maybe it's just me, right? Think about what Pinterest did for cooking at home. Can you choose a meal to make now without seeing a picture of it first? Can you buy a cookbook of any, that's worth its salt without probably not just seeing pictures of the finished product, but all kinds of details of it being made? Images are what capture us. Images are what pull us in ways that a written review just never could. So when you use hankr, you just browse, and then you see a photo, and it just grabs you in the gut. And now all that stress and uncertainty in the pit of your stomach about, is this going to be the right place for our night out tonight? That's just replaced by the perfect meal, the meal that you craved. What's maybe not as obvious at first, and these are all pictures from hankr that exist today, and it's something that makes hankr really awesome and really useful and actually pretty disruptive, and that's that these aren't Hollywood photos of food. This isn't, I don't want to name names, it's not doctored up food. This is all true to life, taken by our staff to be just what you would see if you sat down at that table at that restaurant right then. That is what you're going to get. Documentary filmmakers call this verite, which means truth. So when you're talking about confidence and giving someone confidence to make a decision, this is it. Does that look good or does it not? You know, and it's your judgment to make. But what you know is if that massive Morisco burrito looked good, when you sit down, that knife will be there, and that lime will be there, and you are about to enjoy what brought you into that restaurant. What's great about this, is also like our innovative way of taking photos, our mindset about how we're going to accomplish this, really breaks down the cost barriers that normally would prevent a local independent restaurant from being able to show you their product. You know, that's a big part of this. They can't afford to do it, they think. So the result is a tool that is incredibly trustworthy, and it's really easy to use, and it simplifies things down to just your personal reaction. And I'm going to borrow something, not steal it, from someone else. So this is video, Start With Why. It's a TED Talk by Simon Sinek, and he talks about in that video how our brains have evolved to make decisions. And at the center of our brain, our limbic brain, that's where all human behavior comes from and all decisions are made. But that part of our brain does not have language. So when you start with pictures of food and not just organized by, I feel like Mexican or American, what's new? What is new American food? You know, we don't just go there. We get to the words that describe what you're feeling in your gut. I just need something comforting. I just want something light and fresh, or I want something spicy. Or I've got friends coming in from out of town, and I just want something that is found only in Wisconsin. These words and these pictures help your mind answer that. It's trying to tell you, I want this, but it doesn't have the word to use. We put it there. You look at the picture, now you're like, that looks delicious. This trout, it's fancy. It kind of it just seems kind of light and kind of cool. Oh, that's Oliver's Public House. I've never heard of that restaurant. You didn't have to be a restaurant insider at first and start with your known consideration set. You just had to look at what looked good. And now your world's opened up to a new place that is serving food that you will love. So we think the benefit of hankr shows up in a couple ways, in this way for you, but also for the restaurants, and there's a real symbiotic relationship here. So just to walk you through maybe a visual example, let's pretend this big circle is all the food available in town from a local restaurant. There's a lot of it. And you, if you're a normal person, you go out sometimes. You might go back to the same places kind of regularly, maybe even order the same thing time and time again because you know it. So there's some of that food that you know and you love, and we're going to call that your dining circle of confidence. And that's great, but the interesting part is that there's another circle there, and that's food that you would love. You just don't know it exists. And if you have to start with the name of a restaurant or start with your neighborhood or things you already know, you're going to miss out on that. And there are sadder things in the world, but that's too bad. We want you to find that food. We want you to have that food. So over time, you use hankr, and that circle of confidence, that grows. And when it comes to making a decision next time, you're going to feel good about it. I'm taking a shot on this one, but we all agree we need to go eat that. Oh, it's across town? Doesn't matter. I need that thing now. Parking's a problem? We'll find a way. Restaurants love this. Now they get to reach out to someone who didn't know they existed, who didn't know that their menu changed, who didn't know that they specialized in one dish or another. Now they know you. Now you know them, and they get to do what they're so good at, which is make you happy. And hopefully, with hankr, they're going to make more of you more happy, and that's good for their business. And that's where things really kind of work together here. At this point, I feel like I wanted to take you through what hankr would really mean for you as somebody who would use it. But it's worth talking about the restaurants because. Well, what do I want to say about the restaurants? It's they have a way now to make their food the star that they've never had before, and we want to help them thrive. Not just as people. I work with great, incredible partners in Milwaukee, and both of us as residents for me in Madison and them of Milwaukee, we go out to eat and we love these restaurants, and that's great because these restaurants really add so much to our communities, and making them successful is a worthwhile thing. They provide support to local producers. They help their own economy. They provide gathering places for people. They provide support for donations, silent auctions. Sure, I'll donate to that. They really are invested in the community. I think it's important that we invest and keep them. In fact, this idea was pitched to my partners at Gray's on the Square. And we signed our partnership agreement a few months later at a restaurant in Milwaukee that's now one of our customers. I think this is the kind of thing that this parallel mission for us of helping these local restaurants thrive. And the fact of the matter is, it's their marketing dollar, their hard-earned marketing dollar that has made hankr possible so far. But we both know, this is the age of customer experience. My day job is in customer experience. We know, and someone in the hospitality industry knows, that ultimately it's making you happy that's going to make them successful and us successful as well. So when you add it all up, does hankr just kind of feel right? Feel right in your gut? Just feel a little bit better? It is the answer to that dining dilemma, that question, what are you in the mood to eat? It's the answer to that, to growing your dining circle of confidence, and it's the tool that makes choosing a meal just more like buying everything else we buy every day. And what's exciting for me is that I can say with confidence that this is really just the beginning. So thank you. That is my presentation about hankr. I would love to know if you had questions, and I'm happy to answer anything I can. Yeah, thank you.
So how do you photograph difficult to photograph food? It's kind of one of the old saws that the piece of pie with the ice cream you see in a magazine has mashed potatoes on it, not ice cream. I've heard it referred to as food pornography because it's not real. Mm-hmm. How do you photograph real ice cream? Well, yeah, right. Yes, quickly. There's some element to this that I would consider to be our secret sauce. So there's so much I can say about that. I am a photographer, and I have had experience shooting in restaurants in this way before hankr was even a seed of an idea. And it's not easy, but I think people tolerate some aspect of imperfection because that's real. And we just try to get it as real as possible and make it look as great as possible. Yeah, there are still challenges to it. Thanks for the question.
Start over here.
So I'm still trying to figure out the business a little bit. So the restaurants are your clients, mm-hmm. and they invite you in to take the photos. So they get to pick what's shot?
Yeah. And like I said, I kind of wanted to introduce you guys to hankr as users, but the business model is the restaurants pay to be in it, and they choose the dishes that they want to feature. They choose the number that they want to feature, and they pay, based on the size of presence that they want to have, or maybe a strategy for their business, like we really want to boost brunch, or we serve all day, but breakfast is kind of light, so we work with them to get their names out there, to get their food out there, more importantly, but that's the business. It is a marketing engine for restaurants. Does that answer your question?
Hey John, how does it work for if you have multiple people that are going out to eat together? So does one person say, do they get to decide and say, I want comfort food, and say it brings up Oliver's, and then they get to pick the dish they want? And what about other people? Does it suggest dishes then to other people in your party, or how does it handle, a group of two or more?
Yeah, and that's a good question on the features. I read something about 1 Million Cups presentations, don't go into all the features of your product, so I kind of steered clear in the presentation, but that's a great question. So, hopefully you're looking at it with someone, or, if that's how it's working. Once you identify a dish, and then see, okay, that's at this restaurant, then on that page you can see all the other dishes that we have for that restaurant. So it is hey, this looks great to me. Is there something here that you would like as well? And they can easily then see, within the boundaries of that restaurant, what else we have in there. Is that? Yeah. Hi.
Hey, I was wondering, does it start and end just with pictures, or is there a review or a social component to this as well? Right
now there are not reviews. You can share the items, with somebody that you found. You can save it for yourself, and that is the extent of it right now. Like I said, this is really just the beginning, kind of like this initial take on this different way of doing it. We have a lot of plans in place. I don't know if reviews, in the sense that we think about them today, will be in that roadmap or not. I think it's kind of it's unclear for us. We think about more something like, okay, we say this is the truth. This sounded good. Just like a marker, like, yep, I had that. Like, that was that. Some people more just kind of like the affirmation. Yeah, that worked. That was good. Just like I expected. So it may be that over time, but yeah, we'll see.
So you just answered one of my 2 questions. I was wondering, like, what kind of controls as a customer do I have? Is there anything I can do to affect this? Keeping notes, doing reviews, that kind of stuff, adding my own pictures. On the other side, with the businesses, once you get enough comfort foods in one sort of dense area, does this start becoming like Google Ads, where it's the business that pays more, theirs is going to get a more prominent display to customers? I mean, what's the business?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not, at this point, definitively, there's no way for like me to boost. It's egalitarian in that way. But yeah, once you get too many dishes, I mean, how many burgers do I have to see before I necessarily know that I want a burger or that I want that one? So as the volume grows, when you first pull up hankr, there'll be an element of, okay, we know where you are, and within a certain, we'll show you the nearest 400 things. And if you are I'm going to go somewhere else over there, or you can adjust from there. But at this point, it is, you're in, it's random every time. The way the moods, as we call them, shake out is random every time, because it's meant to be, right now, a discovery tool. Like, I don't know what I want. Not, I just want a steak, and where can I get the best steak? I mean, it's kind of not as streamlined for that kind of process. I think it will be over time. But for now, yeah, it's equal, even, and then eventually, what's nearest to you will kind of pop first. Did your first question get answered all the way then?
It sounds like there's nothing really that I can do to affect the platform as a customer. There's no data that I can input in all, it sounds like.
As a restaurant?
As a consumer.
Oh, as a consumer, yeah. For now, yeah, just saving it for your own reference, or sharing it out with someone else. Yep. Yeah, Jason.
Great presentation, John. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about how you're managing kind of the two-sided effort here of getting enough users to make it worthwhile for a restaurant to invest their marketing dollars into this, and then getting enough restaurants to have enough variety for the users? Just curious as to what hankr is doing to kind of manage both sides of the teeter-totter there.
Yes, teeter-totter, tightrope, yeah, whatever you want to say. I mean, one thing I will say is that the restaurants and hankr, we need each other. And people, diners, and hankr need the restaurants. I mean, this is definitely there's a triangle here where the 3 legs of the stool, we need them all there. At this point, I mean, I guess, really tactically, I would say we're kind of splitting our time about half and half as far as investing in hankr, the brand, to try to make sure people know about it, PR and things like that. So once the users are there, restaurants can be like, all right, this makes sense. But what's really exciting, I think, for us is that in an industry like the restaurant industry, people who are, some of the people who have the shortest amount of time to deal with another salesperson coming in to sell another thing, when they see something like this, even when it was, as we were saying, kind of in our own walls, when it was just air, another app. Are you kidding me? You're the 4th person here selling me an app today. They see the power in this. This is what restaurants want to be able to do. So that's been really, really great. Even as adoption still has to come, restaurants want to be a part of it and understand the value up front.
So I just downloaded your app, and I have to say, beautiful pictures. I'm
Awesome.
really intrigued by it. The reason I downloaded it was I have a mother-in-law who just doesn't seem to make up her mind on what she likes to eat. She prefers Spanish. And so I was looking on there to see if I can switch the language. Is that a capability right now? Can I switch it to Spanish where she can see the ingredients in the language that she prefers? I know beautiful pictures can be great and trying to incentivize, so I hope it diminishes the time that we spend trying to decide what food. But how's that came up before of thinking, well, let's add it in Spanish or let's add it in a different language where it opens your market to more consumers? And then the second question that I have is like on the business side of it. Are you guys keeping track of like what pictures are selected to help the business side of it, of saying, wow, well, the consumer really liked the soup dish on this, so perhaps the next season of food that I bring out, I'm going to bring out something similar but with a different catch to that. Is that something you guys are currently working on?
Yeah.
Curious to learn more about that.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. Both of them are really good. So to answer your first question, at this point, you can't do that now. It is English only, and that's where we are. But I mean, there's so much more in terms of like diversity of the cuisine and just broad appeal that we have to get to over time. This is truly. It is live, truly a startup, truly early in the process, but so much of that to come. And I'm sorry, keeping track of things. Yeah, so I mean, restaurants we work with that advertise with Yelp already today, for instance, they're used to getting data, and we will definitely give them that data as well. It is really great for us to be able to say, not just here was, the food of yours that was most popular, but here are the categories that were most popular this month. And one day, we talk about like crowdsourced menus. I mean, like the hankr tasting menu. So if you can make the Korean taco with this, that seems like data would show it's going to be a hit. And so there's some really exciting things there, which we love to think about when you think about this as being a marketing engine for restaurants that they don't really have today. And this is not that yet, but the potential is really there. So yeah, great question, very astute. And thanks for downloading the app.
So from a business modeling and growth perspective, are you bootstrapping right now? Are you raising money? Do you have some business relationship with American Family, or just a bunch of contacts that showed up to this?
It is bootstrapping. My partners own a business and have very great businessmen and have owned their own business for about 15 years. And cash that we need right now is really coming from within the group. I think we recognize that. We've proved Milwaukee. That's where we piloted, by the way, in February. When we come to Madison, if it goes as well here, at that point, I know we want to go fast. We want to do what we can to get to other markets and expand, and we'll see what happens and what we need to do at that point to make that happen.
I think we have time for one more question. Okay.
Totally important. My question is a little bit more geared toward the niche of your users and how you can serve them effectively. As a culinary nutritionist and as a celiac, I'm very concerned about the different dietary needs of different consumers. So I'm wondering if you've thought about how this app might help address some of the dining out anxiety that people with different dietary needs and allergies might have.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things we did as just kind of a starting point was to have categories for gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian. I mean, just kind of three very broad level things. But there's still an aspect to that of once we have more dishes, okay, I'm gluten-free. Whether I'm celiac or I just want to eat that way, but it doesn't mean I don't maybe want something spicy or something cheesy, so letting kind of there be like this overall setting on the app that says, okay, limit my case to this, now show me everything in the same way. We need more volume to kind of get there. I don't think it'd be a very good experience right now if, just a couple dozen dishes in these different categories. I had a restaurateur, a chef, rattling off names of groups of, I eat fish, pork, no land animals, and so we've got to see how far we go with that, but yeah, it really matters. So yeah, we want to make sure we cover it.
And I might add that there might be an opportunity to have some sort of validation system. I know most local chefs are very good about knowing, whether their dish is truly gluten-free or is truly allergy-friendly. But there are some that like to fudge or don't really fully understand all of the different prep components that go into that. So if you can if you can help to validate that data in some way, that would probably be helpful for your users as well. Yeah, gosh, you guys asked really good questions, and that's a great observation and something we've definitely talked about. Going off what the restaurant says and their menu says, and is that enough?
do we have to go further? So thank you. Great question.
Well, thank you so much, John. One final question we always
Yes.
ask our presenters. What can we as the community do to help hankr? Is it a matter of downloading the app and, being excited when it comes to Madison, or, seeking out financing, human capital needs? What can we do?
Gosh, well, every day, next time you're at a restaurant, show it to them. Have you heard about this? I think you'd want to know about this. This is coming to town, and I would love to use this. You should check it out. That would be, just great word of mouth. But yeah, download it today. Let me be able to tell restaurants that, yeah, we've got some users in Madison right now, even before the app is here. That would be great.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, and thank you to 100 State for Coffee, and thank you to all of you. Keep coming back. See you next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.